Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We're going to be studying some more GTO spots. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the big blind defense versus the button open. So this is probably one of the most common spots in poker, button versus big blind. So studying your big blind defense is pretty important. So here's the 300 big blind chart for the hands you're supposed to be defending when the button opens to 3x. And I think it's important to look at this and then also compare it to when your opponent opens to 7x. Because in live poker, oftentimes people are opening to various different sizings. So like this is kind of a standard chart for when they're opening to a normal size. But you can see here, as soon as they start opening to 7x, how our range changes completely. We basically go from raising 13% of the time and calling 13% of the time to just folding a lot more because they're just not getting a good price to be defending out of position. So I'm just going to quickly click back on the 3x open chart just so we can compare it to this 7x open chart. So we get to play a lot more. I get to defend a lot more when they're opening to 3x compared to 7x. And then also our stack depth matters, not just their opening size, but our stack depth. So let's look at 150 big blinds deep when they're opening to 3x. So we get to call a ton more. I think a lot of these hands, like the Queen 2 suited, Jack 3 suited, they're just like too bad to be playing big pots for like 300 big blinds. But 150 big blinds is kind of the sweet spot where those hands are still playable. So it's actually calling 30% of hands when you're 150 big blinds deep, compared to only calling 13% of hands when you're 300 big blinds deep. And that's against the smaller open. So let's just quickly look at the when you're 150 big blinds deep and your opponent opens to 7x. So we go from 30% calls versus the 3x to like 5% calls versus the 7x. So we're just having to fold a ton more when our opponent is just using these massive opening sizes. So I'll just quickly show the 3x open chart again for 150 big blinds. You can see what a massive difference that is versus their opening size. So I think that's like one of the biggest adjustments people can make for live poker is when your opponents are just raising to like 5x or 6x or 10x. You can just like stop defending so much and stop calling so much and just start when you are going to play against those opens that are massive, just like raising them a lot more. Okay, so let's go to the practice hands, and we can see just how far off I am from GTO, but we can kind of learn together here. So here, our opponent's opening massive. So like we're just looking at the charts. We want to have like very few calls, like almost no calls versus this massive open. And now it's just a matter of, do we have any folds with ace 3? I think let's just try basically doing like 10% folding and like mainly 3-betting with this hand from this depth. Could be wrong, but okay, so I was off a little bit. So this is just a pure fold. I'm just going to look up the chart here. Okay, so it's only using ace 5 in this spot at 200 big blinds deep. I'm kind of interested at, let's just quickly pull up that chart before and see at 300 big blinds deep. Okay, so 300 big blinds deep, we add in ace 4 suited, but we're still just folding ace 3 suited to that 7x open. That just shows how tight you have to be versus a 7x. Okay, so here's another 7x. King, queen, off. It's a pretty strong hand, but against 7x, we have to be pretty tight. And again, there's like almost no calling. I think we're going to do like 25% raise and 75% fold. This could be wrong. This could be way over tight, but versus a 7x open puts us in a tough spot. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, I'm almost spot on. It's perfect. King 9 suited versus a 7x. Again, we have to be very tight with almost no calls versus a 7x. Okay, let's do like a sliver of raising and mainly folding. Let's see here. Ooh, wow. I'm doing really, really well. I did this training session like for like 30 minutes before doing this video, just get a little bit of practice. And it looks like it's paying off, even just like 30 minutes of practice. Okay, at 3x, so we can have some calls versus the smaller sizing. And I think King X suited qualifies to continue. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna actually do like a 1/3 split on each. I'm probably not right here, but I just think it's like a mix, and I'm not sure exactly on what the split is. So I'm just gonna submit a mix of all three. Completely wrong. Just a pure fold. Let's see here. What are we doing? Okay, so I basically was just off by a hand. Like King 4 is basically mixing. And King 5 is basically pure raising with a little bit of calling. So I was basically just off by one combo here. Okay, let's go next hand. Okay, so versus a very small raise, we can actually flat like a ton of hands. And I think this hand is good enough to flat. I think we're just going to call pure versus this teensy weensy open. Okay, completely wrong again. Let's see here. Just a pure fold. Let's see what we're defending against such a small open. Okay, so we do have a ton of flats, but again, I was just off by one combo. Like Jack 8 off is a fold, but then 10 8 off is basically a pure call. Because I guess it's just much more likely to be able to make it straight. But then Jack 9 off is also a pure call. Okay. Let's go next hand. So 10-7 suited versus a 5x. So we kind of need to be tight. And as they go bigger, we just have fewer and fewer calls. So I think let's go like 25% raise and like 75% fold. Perfect. So it's GTO is actually pure folding this hand. But I guess my raise wasn't that bad. It's not losing too much EV. So looks like I was more closer in line with like 10-8 suited with a little sliver of raising. 10-7 is just a pure fold. Let's minimize this and go to the next hand. Okay. So versus a small open. Again, I don't think many opponents are going to be opening at 2x. I guess if you're playing like 2-5, someone might open at $10. But if you're playing 1-2, I never see anyone open at like $4. I think the minimum people open to is like 7 or 8. But I think here we can basically just like pure call this. Whoops. Let's go pure call. It's just like we can make straights. We can make 2-pair type stuff. It's only one extra big blind. So we can call pretty wide. Okay, so it is wanting to fold about half the time though. But it did give me the double check, so like pure calling I guess isn't that bad for EV. But good to note that we're not just pure defending that. Okay, so I think Ace-7 off is a fold here, just after studying the charts for a little bit. I think like Ace-8, Ace-9 is kind of the bottom of the defend range when you're this deep. So let's just go pure fold and just see if I'm spot on here. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like we are defending a little bit. Still gave me 2 checks, so it's not like I made a blunder or anything, but it does want to defend and raise a little bit. Okay, Ace-Jack versus the 5x. I don't think we're going to be folding. And I think we're primarily going to be raising. Might even be like close to a pure raise. Maybe like a sliver of calls. I think we're going to do like 10 call. Let's see here. Might even just be pure raise. Okay, so I was kind of close. I had 90-10, but it's 70-30. So in the right ballpark at least. It's not, at least I didn't like fold or something outrageous. Okay, we're 300 big blinds deep. Standard open, so we can have some calls here. But remembering what I was looking at the charts earlier, when you get deeper, these like junky suited hands get defended less actually. So this might be like mainly a fold with like a little bit of calling. Let's go like... The other mistake I was making when I was just practicing was I was just kind of like calling and raising too much with hands that were pure folds. So this might be just a pure mistake and I just need to be folding this 100. But let's have a sliver of calls, but it's probably just a pure fold. Let me guess, pure fold. Oh no, wow. Okay, so at least I was defending it, but I need to be calling it a lot more. Let me just look at the chart for that and just see. Okay, so 6-4 suited. So basically what I put in was more in line with 5-3 suited. So 1 pip down is how I was playing that. So probably not losing that much value, but still something to be aware of. Okay, so this is probably just like a pure call versus the 2x. Versus 2x, so these really small raises, it just has like a really wide like calling range. He's getting such a good price. I'm just going to put a pure call. And let's just see. Okay, wrong again. Just a pure fold. That's a little surprising to me because I know it loves to just like call. I guess this hand's just a little bit too bad. Again, it's just like 1 pip off. I guess it really values being able to make straights. Like I know 8-4 can technically make a straight, but a triple gapper is a little weak. Next hand. Okay, so ace 10 versus the 5x. So this is probably similar to the ace jack hand. I don't think we're going to be folding. Let's mainly raise. Let's go like 60-30 or 70-30, I mean. Let's see here. $70-30. Okay, wrong again. Just a pure fold. That's pretty tight. Versus 5x, just folding ace 10 off. That's interesting. That seems a little tight, but I will not question the GTO wizards. Okay, queen 4 suited versus a 3x open. I think just in like practicing earlier and looking at the charts earlier, I think like ace 2 suited is like pure fold. And then this is probably like a mix of some sort. Maybe like very small sliver raising with like, let's go 50% folds. And I'm pretty sure like ace 2 is like a pure fold. Ace 3 is almost a pure fold. Or sorry, not ace. Queen deuce and queen 3. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a pure fold as well. Let's see. Okay. So even versus a 3x, you just don't want to be defending these like junky suited queens from the big blind. And that's against a 3x. So imagine when they're opening like 4, 5, 6x. Next hand, 5-4 versus the 4x. 4x open. So we're going to be folding a lot here, I think. Let's do like 25, 25, 50. Give me a check, but a low score. Okay, I had the right idea. Just need a little bit more 3-betting. And my call percentage was almost spot on. So basically just like 3-betting twice as much and folding half as much. 10-6 versus a 3x. This is probably borderline as well. Let's do a lot of calling and a lot of folding. Let's do a 50-50. Okay, it's a pure fold. So it looks like I'm just like calling a little bit too much. So I got to work on not defending quite as wide. Okay, 8-5 versus the 2.5x. You know what? Let's just pure fold this. If we weren't defending the 10 high flush draw, we're probably not defending like a double gapper. Let's just see if I'm learning. Yep, perfect. I'm already improving. Already improving and making the adjustments. I can move up in stakes. Pretty sure this is just like a fold. I think like this deep ace-9 is like the bottom of our defend range. And then you might take a sliver of ace-5 offsuit and 3-bet it. But ace-3 is for sure just a fold here, I think. Yeah, pure fold. Let's just open the chart just to verify what I said. Okay, so we can actually defend down to ace-7 off as a mix with the ace-5 being a defend with the raise. So I was off by a pip or two. But I was, of course, right with the ace-3. Let's go to the next one. Okay, jack-6. I think we're just folding this. It's probably close, though. It's probably, again, like around the borderline. But we were folding, like, all the way up to, like, queen-7. So I'd imagine jack-6 just gets folded here. Especially as you get deeper, the solver was, like, just not wanting to get involved with these, like, junky suited hands. Okay, perfect. We are learning. Okay, so yeah, it was like right on the cusp. Jack-7 suited is a defend with some raises. Okay, ace-10. I think we had a similar spot earlier, and it was just like a pure fold. That might have been against a 5x, though, so this might have some play to it. But if this is a pure fold, that's kind of like surprising. I don't think anyone in live poker is like folding ace-10. If you're playing 1-2 and someone makes $8 on the button, you're not just like folding ace-10. So that just kind of shows like how beatable live poker is if people are just... So let's just see. See if this is just a pure fold. Okay, wrong move. Okay. So I guess like the difference between 4 big blinds and 5 big blinds and the difference between ace-jack and ace-10. Let's just have a look at the range here. Whoops. Okay, so this is like, yeah. I guess I over-adjusted from that spot earlier with the ace-jack. Okay, let's go to the last hand here. Okay, so this is one of those junky queens versus a 3x. Pretty sure we were just folding these junky queens. Let's just fold, see what it says. Okay. So I had many slip-ups. Let's go end session. I'm just going to look at that last queen hand and see how far off I was. Let's go study this spot. So yeah, it is folding the queen 5 suited all the way up to queen 7 suited. So I got a pretty low score, but some of it was just adjustments I was trying to make that I was just like off a little bit. So I got a lot of work to do on the big blind defense. So if I'm making this many mistakes and I've looked at the charts, you can imagine how many mistakes people are making who haven't looked at the charts. Like people who are just like, someone's opening a 7x and they're just like calling like all this stuff when like, if they're opening to 3x, like some of it is calls, but once people are like just calling when people are opening to 7x, like the amount of EV that people are losing. But anyways, I'm going to continue to work on this spot, obviously, because I scored, pretty bad. But, it was fun. And we'll see you guys next time.